Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Enchanted by English, where today we are doing...
Oh, I'm so excited.
English sparkling wine versus champagne. Is it really worth it?
Oh my God, the big question.
Yeah, so you actually don't know, but I did a poll on Instagram.
Oh,
I hid it from you.
did you cut me out?
I cut you right out.
Oh my God, I'm taking that bit personally. What else have I been cut out of?
You didn't miss much, just a little poll. And my poll was, should I do English sparkling wine versus champagne, English sparkling wine versus Prosecco, or the history of English sparkling wine, or something else?
Okay.
And the votes were actually really evenly split, but English sparkling wine versus champagne just pipped the others to the post.
So maybe we can do the others another time then,
Yeah.
if people are still interested.
People were definitely still interested in the others. And there were some other suggestions that I'll tell you about another time as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't know if it had worked, and I didn't want to ask you and be like, can you see our Instagram story? Because then you'd know something was going on.
I feel like this is some sort of Colleen Rooney, Rebecca Vardy type
I'm
test.
really sorry. I have now unrestricted you, and
thank
you can
God.
once again see our stories.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I just I wanted some input from followers.
Yeah,
and
I like it.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
So
I like it.
English sparkling wine, is it worth it? Or English sparkling wine versus champagne? Where is best to spend your hard-earned money?
That's such a good question, because I see the question in people's eyes sometimes. 100%. You know, like you're like, oh no, but don't pick up the champagne from the shelf. Pick up the English sparkling wine. Honestly, I'm like promising you it's worth it. And in their eyes they're like, I'm sure, like being polite. And you're like, no, genuinely. So it's such a good topic.
We're doing a not necessarily a deep dive, but a medium dive into why, explaining the reasons why English sparkling wine is worth your money over champagne. But first, the English wine news for this week. Top story today.
Oh yes.
It's not dry January anymore.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say thank God.
Cheers to that.
But only thank God for everyone else that was doing dry January, because I wasn't. Well,
yes, but also for our business.
Well, yes. Always takes a hit in January.
Not much wine sales going on in January. So hooray for February. And Valentines Day is around the corner.
Yes.
So we've currently got a special on sparkling wines.
Yeah.
And you can include a gift message for free on any of your orders. So that's good too. Roll on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, roll on trying that extra special something.
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
And the nights are drawing out.
They are. They really are. The other day I was driving back from work and I was like, it's not completely pitch black.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and such a difference.
Lots of people are sharing beautiful pictures of sunsets and sunrises, including you.
I did one this morning,
which I'm thoroughly enjoying.
Love a sunrise / sunset.
No, the sky's been beautiful. So spring it's on the horizon.
Yes,
it's not here, but it's coming.
Thank God. Thank God. It will soon be hot summer's days, or even like warm spring days, sat in the garden drinking beautiful wine.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But for now, we've still got the fire on.
We have. It's actually really warm in here.
It's lovely. So that's top story number 1. Story number 2 in the English wine news is Tim Atkin, Master of Wine, has released his 2022 special report on England's vintage. It's £15, so once again, I haven't bought it.
Yes.
However,
we save our money for the wine.
The teaser is 2018 and 2020 were no flukes.
Ooh.
England may rest at the northern limits of viticultural viability, but the ball is increasingly falling on the right side of the line.
Yes, I agree.
So things are looking good for 22. That's the summary of the report.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I do think we had a lovely summer, didn't we? We had that sort of long, hot summer vibe going on again.
Yeah.
We didn't have any late frosts.
No.
So, yeah, I'm really hopeful for 2022.
I am as well.
Obviously, we're far too early to talk about 2023.
Yes.
But yeah, 2022, can't wait to taste some of the first releases.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which actually won't be that that far away now.
No,
now that we're
I'm
in
sure
Feb.
they won't. People are working on it now, aren't they?
Yeah, a month or two, and then they'll be out to the public. So
absolutely,
yeah, exciting times.
And on the subject of late frosts, slightly off topic, but I was listening to Susie and Peter's Wine Blast podcast, which I enjoy, and they were discussing Burgundy and the fact that climate change is affecting them in a serious way, and the price of Burgundy is just going through the roof, completely through the roof, as in only available to the seriously wealthy, as in doubling in price.
Yeah.
So we like Burgundy.
Love a Burgundy.
We love cool climate Pinot Noir, Chardonnay. Yes, all day, every day. But it's going to be in a restaurant, for example, a village Burgundy is going to be like £200. Not even like a Grand Cru. We're talking
just your standard. Wow, that's crazy.
It's ridiculous. They were saying you can still buy your Burgundy, your case of Burgundy, but the price that you would get a case of 12 for, you're getting 6 basically, or even 3, because the allocation is that low. They also said prices going up and they're going to stay there. So next year, if they have a better year, yields are up, doesn't matter, prices are going to stay high. And they're just saying, if you want to drink Burgundy, this is the price you've got to pay.
So if you find a really reasonably priced Burgundy that you obviously enjoy drinking, buy in bulk is what I hear you saying.
100%.
It's good for the pocket in the long run.
And if it's just completely out of your reach now financially, then Susie and Peter were talking about alternatives, including Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, obviously the UK. All of these, they're not, cheap, but they are, if in terms of quality, cool climate, Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, they're up there. Go for it.
God, that's fascinating.
Good,
and
isn't it?
We all knew that climate change was going to change, obviously, wine, a multitude of things, but wine being one of them. And as it is, it's just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. So it's pushing, obviously, wine.
So the thing that's affecting Burgundy specifically is that they're having warmer winters. So bud burst happens, which means the grapes begin to grow, the early stages, the flowers.
They're like, woohoo!
Exactly.
We're here, guys.
They start, and then they'll get a frost.
To kill them all,
and it'll just destroy them. So it's really serious. It's really serious. It's quite scary, but it's obviously working in our favour at the moment. And that is everything from me for wine news. Did you have anything to contribute?
Yes, I do. As some people may have seen, because it was doing the rounds, wasn't it, on socials, but the really popular glass company.
Oh, I was going to mention this.
Yes. So a bit like what we were talking about, actually, stealing our theme. So the last podcast, episode 2, we were talking about, the best glass for English sparkling wine and champagne, that sort of sparkling vibe, and the differences and, the different glass styles, shapes. Even then we went into decanting it and how that changed things. We were completely and utterly in love with our experiment, and actually hence why we've cracked out these today.
Notice we're drinking from Coops today.
We are sipping an English sparkling wine, and we have decided this is for us. The flute is no more.
Absolutely.
And so massively on trend as we are, we then saw all over socials the glass company Riedel or however you'd prefer to pronounce it, went down to the southeast of England, so the really popular areas like Kent, Sussex, Surrey, Hampshire, and they gathered together some sparkling wine makers. So Simpsons was there. Who else was there? Ridgeview was there. There was maybe like 8 to 10.
They went to Hampshire as well, I think.
And they gathered them all together. They had a whole line of different types of glasses, and they were tasting them, trying them out of all of these different glasses, a little bit like what we were doing. And they're now going to create an English sparkling wine glass, a specific glass for it. And you were saying they've already decided, they went through all of these trials, didn't they? And they've decided on a Riesling glass.
So of the glasses that they tasted English sparkling wine from, they obviously brought glasses that Riedel already produce. And the one that performed best for English sparkling wine across the board, actually, so they obviously did different tastings in Hampshire, Sussex, Kent, etc. But in each of the counties, the Riesling Veloce, it's a specific style of the glass, but it's a Riesling white wine glass, performed the best across the board, and that is because it's designed to bring out the expression and the depth of flavour from a low tannin, high acidity wine with like quite delicate aromas. So
and it doesn't look like a flute. It is,
looks like
a white wine glass than anything else.
So watch this space for the official English sparkling wine glass, which I think is such a big deal for English wine in general. That really puts you on the map, doesn't it?
Because they're such a big brand of glassware, and I think for them to even be picking this up is really important, because they're obviously seeing that there is a demand for it. So Sarah's gonna get on there, and as soon as they're out, we're gonna, well, maybe that should be another podcast. Testing we'll that glass and see how it holds up against maybe our faves.
Definitely.
So I thought that was really good, really interesting that such a big company is taking such an interest in English sparkling wine, and long may it continue, because obviously it's the way forward.
And it really opens up the debate. Is a champagne glass suitable for an English sparkling wine? The comparison is there already, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
What are the differences? And clearly there are some. So let's go into
Let's get into it.
English sparkling wine versus champagne. It's a bit aggressive, isn't it? As a title.
And actually,
head to head,
completely randomly, I was watching the news a couple of days ago, and someone from the House of Lords was on there. Who was it? Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Oh right, yes.
And he, that's what it was. It was the anniversary of Brexit. They were talking about, and they were saying, happy birthday, Brexit. And he was saying, yes, I'm drinking English champagne to celebrate.
Okay.
And the presenter actually said, no, it's not champagne. It's English sparkling wine. You can't call it champagne. Don't think the French would like that. No. And he was like, we don't care what the French think anyway. And then it was, I was sort of doing something else at the same time, and as soon as I heard English champagne, I was like, sorry, what? What is this? Ran over and was watching. But it was so fascinating. Obviously, to celebrate Brexit, you should drink something English. But really fascinating that already people are saying champagne, and then they were saying it's not champagne.
Absolutely.
That's quite a mainstream thought now.
Yeah, definitely. It is different. And do you remember when, not a few years, maybe a few years ago, when we first started anyway, people were still debating, what shall we call English sparkling wine? Do we just call it English sparkling wine? Do we call it Britannia or something? Do you call it English fizz? Some people were pro English fizz, which sounds a bit naff, I think, but I think English sparkling wine just does the job, doesn't it?
Fizz is a fun word, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. It's not really reflective of the product.
No, I would, if I was at a large party and someone said, glass of fizz, I'd go, yeah, sure. And the only thing that guarantees you probably is that it's going to come out in a flute and it's got bubbles. It could be any range of sparkling wine.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So it's just a generic term, isn't it? And I think, as you say, English sparkling wine deserves a proper,
to be what it is.
Because it doesn't,
much like champagne. They don't like people calling English sparkling wine champagne. They don't like people calling Prosecco champagne. They don't like people calling Cremant champagne. Only champagne is champagne.
Because it has to be from that specific area of France.
So anyway, well, let's open the debate.
Okay.
So it's really difficult one to objectively discuss because there is such a range of products in both England and in Champagne.
Yeah.
They each have their own differences within the categories.
Yeah.
It's not one thing and another. So I thought it wouldn't make sense to do a direct, taste comparison between two specific wines. It's sort of a bit of an empty debate then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it really only concludes differences between those two wines.
Yes.
Whereas it's more important to discuss the differences between the styles, the production,
the history.
Yeah, there's just all these other things that go into, all English sparkling wine and all champagne that you potentially can discuss. So that's where I'm going from. And I'm also going from the angle of, okay, I've got 30 to 60 pounds in my pocket. I'm going to the wine merchants. Where should I spend my money, basically?
Yeah.
And
do you know, something that I don't like to admit, but about a week before Christmas or something, I went to Tesco.
Oh my goodness.
Holy moly. Honest to God, my Fitbit thought I was doing a workout. I was like pure panic attack territory. I was like, why am I in here? What am I doing? What have I done to myself? Anyway, I went in because we were having a load of people over and I just wanted to get like fridge filler wine.
Yeah.
Because whilst we obviously have nice wine all of the time because we're a believer of like drink the good stuff at all times, also for the Christmas period you never quite know who's going to drop in at what point, and you need a variety of different wines to suit that person and whatever they're going to enjoy. So I went down the wine aisle in our local Tesco and I was like, right, I'm just going to get some cheap champagne because I thought that's usually what we have with our brunch for Christmas Day. There's quite a few of us this year and I thought I don't quite know how much people will want to drink or how much we'll get through, so I'll get a few emergency bottles in case we crack through what I had planned to drink anyway. I was like, right, I'll just grab a few like cheapy bottles. In my mind, cheapy bottles of champagne, 20 to 25 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't know, is that unreasonable?
No, that's what I would think.
No,
tell me.
You just cannot get
a
half I was going to say half decent, but one that that doesn't say Tesco on it or something. You can't. You need to be spending at least £30 in Tesco.
Yes.
Which I thought was my cheap choice. I wasn't at a wine merchant that perhaps wasn't buying a crazy bulk and whatever. In Tesco, £30+ pounds.
What did you go for in the end?
A Mumm. Yeah. And I was shocked.
It was 30 something.
I think it was 35 to 40.
Okay.
But by this point I was like, okay, so cheap champagne isn't a thing anymore. Maybe it never was.
Well,
so therefore I'll go for something half decent. I also got actually a few weeks before that from Ocado a Bolly, but it was on offer. So I thought I'll just get one and it will sit in the fridge, for emergencies.
These days?
That was I think 36 on offer. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and I had actually noticed that it was, and I'm not really good at noticing that sort of stuff, but I had noticed, that doesn't fit with my expectation.
Interesting.
And I did think to myself,
so when did we last buy
champagne? I don't know.
Bollinger or Mumm? Was it a long time ago?
I don't know.
Have the prices gone up?
Yeah, maybe it's cost of living and I'm just out of touch because I don't usually buy it as a thing anyway, because I would usually go for English sparkling wine.
Yes.
But then I just thought, interesting.
We did discuss a few weeks ago the headline that because of champagne production being down, English sparkling wine has been on the rise sort of as a result of that. So.
And I just thought, am I wasting my time here? Should I buy English sparkling wine from the best wine merchants out there? Seeing as it's in my house anyway, why am I here having a panic attack over this? So yeah, I thought that was really interesting actually.
Definitely.
Because most people presume English sparkling wine is
more
substantially more than 100%. Champagne. And that's not the case anymore.
It's not the case. It's not.
No.
So I'm going to mention a couple of big brand champagne. I mean, you've already mentioned a couple there. Yeah. Mumm and Bollinger. We're also...
What's your go-to then? If you're going for champagne, what would you instantly think of as buying, as a brand?
Yes, for me, it's always been Bollinger.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I still think that.
Oh, really?
Yes. Well, I don't know if I would bother at all, is what I'm saying.
Yes. Do you remember we went for sushi in a well-known
yes,
sushi
I
restaurant
do.
brand?
Oh, my goodness me.
In London, and we asked for a glass of Veuve.
Yeah.
And I said, don't do it. It's crap now.
And I said
tried
it's
it a week ago. I didn't like the Veuve. You said, don't be silly, it's champagne. You probably just had a crap one that's been open for ages. So I said, okay, if you insist. So we ordered 2 glasses of the Veuve. It came out, you basically spat it over me, and you called the waiter back and you said, I would really like you to check that that's not Prosecco, because there's nothing going on here in this glass.
I was a bit sneakier than that. I asked to taste the Prosecco. Because in my head I was like, it's so sweet.
Yeah.
This cannot
it's not
be
right.
champagne.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I asked if I could just have just want to taste the Prosecco, just to compare for my own sanity. And I tasted it, and sure enough, the Prosecco was the Prosecco and the champagne was the champagne, as per my order. But I was disappointed to say the least.
Yeah, we were so used to the quality of English sparkling wine that then when you taste like a, it
was just over sweet for me, and like a bit
brand,
lifeless.
It was boring.
Yeah.
So interesting.
You may have noticed we're slightly biased.
This is true. Yes.
If you want to skip to the conclusion, we're going to be saying that English sparkling wine is worth it, and
probably, definitely.
But let's just explain why if you're still interested.
Yes.
So, what is champagne? Champagne is sparkling wine from the Champagne region of France. There are specific grapes that are allowed to go into it. I think there are 7 in total.
There are. Can you name them?
No.
Oh, we did this competition the other day.
Oh, can you?
I don't know if I can anymore.
Give it a go.
But we looked it
Not
up.
that I would know.
Because we couldn't. Okay, so there's the 3 obvious.
Yes.
Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. Mm-hmm. Obvious. Then Pinot, here we go, Blanc.
Yeah. I know that to be true.
Gris.
Don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm not 100%
I'm
sure on that one.
Myself.
Then there is it Mourvèdre? Mourvèdre, maybe. Now I'm 100% probably making this up. And the last one is another really small.
Okay, no, Mourvèdre is not.
It's not. Okay.
Gris is.
And Blanc.
And Blanc,
Blanc, okay.
So all the Pinots.
So we've got 5 now. So there's 2 more.
There's Petit Meslier.
Oh, okay.
And Arbin.
Okay. Yeah, I was never going to get those.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't know them myself either. But
they're usually such teeny tiny proportions of the actual wine, though, that you wouldn't really be able to pick them out anyway. The
dominant grapes are Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. Yeah. And so yes, and it's all grown in chalk soils in Champagne. Yeah. And it's produced using the traditional method. Yep. Or the double fermentation method. Mm-hmm. So it's fermented in tank and then it's fermented again in bottle, which is where it gets the bubbly fizz from. Yeah. Christopher Merritt or Dom Perignon, depending upon who you believe.
Christopher Merritt, obs,
invented
English.
champagne in the 17th century. The dates are really similar. But yes, whether you believe that a French monk invented it or a British tradesman, sailor, I don't know. Something happened where they were transporting wine. Oh, I think this is right. I should have reread this story. In my head, they were transporting wine from France to England, and to improve the taste, they added a bit of extra sugar. Yeah. And this made it ferment again in the bottle, and it fizzed. And that is the earliest written record of. Yeah. So long time ago anyway, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of years. So Champagne has a long history of sparkling wine production and sparkling wine grape farming. It can be vintage or non-vintage, which means it can either be
multi-vintage
or multi-vintage. Yeah. Non-vintage and multi-vintage are interchangeable. It either means that you've got, so when you get all your grape juices, you stash some in reserves, basically.
Put it over there.
Yeah, just stash it away. And then the next time that you go to blend a new one, you get out your reserves and you can include those wines as well. So you, big champagne houses will be blending from like 100 different wines to make their non-vintage, whatever it is, their non-vintage champagne.
Yeah, and that's so that they can keep things fairly consistent year on year.
Yes,
so if they have an absolutely awful year, they don't need to panic and not release anything, because whilst the quality may have been awful for 1 year, they've still got their reserves, their sort of backup that they can top things up with and make it all lovely again.
Yes, and vintages are generally made in only the good years.
Yes.
So you will see that Bollinger will have a vintage, Moët will have a vintage,
but only every few years. Yeah.
Yes, and they're generally aged for a lot longer, the vintages. I can't remember where I read, but I read somewhere I think that it was Dom Perignon is aged for a minimum of 8 years, and their Dom Perignon's premium Dom Perignon is aged for then 16 years, so even longer. So yes, a long time in bottle for vintages in champagne.
That's an investment, isn't it?
It sure is. It's an investment in time, money, everything. But they've been doing it for an awful long time, and they are pretty wealthy now in Champagne. So I think they're doing okay.
Yeah.
Champagne is synonymous with celebrations.
Yeah.
You pop it open. Well, wine lovers generally will pop it open for a celebration. These days, well, since Prosecco entered the world, entered the chat, Prosecco has been increasingly used because it has the same pop, which is the theatre, the celebration pop, woohoo!
Yeah.
But it's got a slightly sweeter and very much cheaper drink style.
And that's because of the different way they make it, isn't it? It requires much less investment from the people that are making it. So yeah.
So that's champagne in a nutshell.
And the same is true then for English sparkling wine.
So, what is English sparkling wine?
Yes.
Well, English sparkling wine is sparkling wine made in England.
Yeah.
Predominantly from
the
Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, dominant champagne grapes. There are maybe up to 6 that you actually put in English sparkling wine, and they're not all the same as the champagne ones. But again, I didn't write it down. I didn't go into that much.
Yeah, and interestingly, lots of people say British wine.
Yes.
And there is a difference, isn't there, between English wine and British wine.
English sparkling wine and, British made.
Yes.
I think in British made wine, you can actually import.
Yeah, the juice. Yeah. So you could technically import some juice from France, for instance, bring it here and make it, and that would be called British wine, whereas I believe English wine has to be made, grown, lovingly cared for, all within England.
Like
so I believe, unless they've changed the rules.
No, that sounds right.
Since I last read about it, but
we're still using the traditional method of production.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same production method as champagne in terms of the double fermentation. So how did we come to start producing English sparkling wine in England? Well, I didn't know this.
Oh.
Mid 20th century. So I did know that English wine started to, return.
Yes.
In the mid 20th century. I did go into when was wine in England, and I was in the Ice Ages. Yeah,
because they do archaeological digs now, don't they? And they'll say, oh yeah, we found pottery and we found this and we found this. Then they say, and actually where the ground had been dug, it was in rows.
Yes.
And so they say, and then they find, pottery synonymous with them.
That was in Roman times.
Yeah, and so they can say there was a vineyard here.
Yes, but they don't
in Roman times.
They cannot conclusively say whether the vineyard was for wine grapes.
Oh.
So like you say, they found pottery suggesting they were drinking wine, but was that wine that was grown from there? Grapes?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you can put 2 and 2 together and say, well, duh. Or
and we'll never know.
Not necessarily. Yes. But the Romans did not introduce the grape vine to England. This was here in the Ice Ages, because archaeologists...
Ice
Ages, yeah, 100% Ice Ages.
Like with a mammoth, like, you know,
exactly.
wandering your vineyard, which actually...
Slight nod to
brings
what
us to what we're doing.
sipping, which is Saffron Grange. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to go into details of tastes today, so this is the only nod we're getting. But Saffron Grange have a woolly mammoth with grapes in its tusks as its brand, and the woolly mammoth is called Brut, and that is because they found tusks in the River Slade, which runs along the bottom of their vineyard. So potentially
at one point there may have been
thousands, millions, I don't know when the Ice Ages were, potentially a very, very, very long time ago.
Yeah, that's what
there was a woolly mammoth in Essex scooping up some grapes from vines, because yes, archaeologists found the remains of grape pollen. I don't know how they do this.
Oh, they're so clever, aren't they?
Isn't it mad? The remains of grape pollen in Essex. So
yes,
and this is an Essex wine, so it could all very well be true.
Absolutely. It's fascinating, like,
it is,
to think that there were people here, like, however long ago, a long time ago,
mind blowing,
who were in, like, I'm not going to say the wine was perhaps tasting exactly the same, but were enjoying wine just as we are now. Like, that blows my mind.
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the earliest conclusive record of wine making in England was from the year 731.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy.
Like, imagine how different their lives were, like day to day, like ours, but they were still drinking wine like we are now.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. It literally,
it's amazing.
If I think about it too long, my brain
hurts.
When
you try to make sense of infinity.
Yeah. You're like, but wait, if it happens, and then it just blows my mind. I don't think I have the intellect to compute all of this stuff at the same time. But
anyway, so
love it.
I went to the Ice Ages, I went to Roman times, I went to 731.
You've been so busy.
And then we started talking about the Black Death, and I was like, I'm going to skip a few pages here. And we went to the mid-20th century.
Yes, that was a few pages.
I know. There was a lot that happened in between. I couldn't go into it all. So anyway, some guy called, Raymond Barrington Brock started the Oxford Viticultural Research Station in the mid-20th century, which was a privately funded experimental nursery where over 25 years they trialled over 600 different vine varieties.
Gosh, they've been busy.
That's a lot, isn't it?
That is a lot.
Even know of that many. I don't even know of 100, so 600 is.
So I guess that was that different clone varieties?
Very possibly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, must have been. Yeah, okay.
Yes, so buoyed by the success of Brock's trials, the first commercial vineyard, all 0.4 hectares of it,
wow. 1 acre. Yeah, that's not large.
No, was planted at Hambledon in Hampshire, the oldest vineyard in England. So yeah, that's how it all began. And because of these trials, the success of the English sparkling wine grapes were planted, as well as various Germanic varieties.
Yes, it was very German based, wasn't it?
Generally started. Yeah. So English sparkling wine is not synonymous with celebrations in the same way that champagne is. It's still actually not very well known in England / globally, unless you are interested in wine, basically. But it is growing in popularity.
It really is, yeah.
And it's improving year on year, and it's also growing in plantings. Like, plantings have been up, like, I don't know, 70% in the last 5 years or something. It's just massively going up. Lots of people want a slice of the English wine cake.
And a lot of people are planting to then just sell the fruit on,
not
to necessarily have their own brand and operation of making the wine.
They just want to be growers.
Yeah, they're just growing it and they're sending it off, to be made into a wine elsewhere.
Yeah.
And anyone, as you say, like, you can have quite a small parcel of land and grow grapes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hamilton's a bit bigger than that now, but
it's a little bit. Yeah.
Got to start somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah.
So climate change is obviously working in our favour at the moment. We're getting warmer springs and summers.
Yeah, that's noticeable as well. Like,
it is noticeable.
And usually things like that aren't noticeable because you are in it day to day, if you know what I mean. So it's a little bit too small,
too close.
But yeah, like we've definitely noticed it over the last few years, whereby it's just like, oh, another hot summer. Oh, another hot summer. This is lovely.
Yeah.
And then you think of the knock-on effect to all of the grape growers, and it's amazing.
Yeah. So I guess you would used to think that maybe 1 in 5 years you'd have a really good vintage.
Yeah.
But according to Tim Atkin's report, 18, 20 and 22.
So every 2 years, based on that
at
short
span.
Yeah,
exactly. At the moment,
yeah,
it's feeling slightly better than that for certain people anyway.
Yeah.
So in addition to climate change improving matters, we've got better viticultural winemaking skills now in the UK. This is again improving. There's Plumpton Agricultural College. We're getting more experienced. I mean, clearly we don't have hundreds of years of generational experience like Champagne, but we are getting more and more experience. Better equipment, and all of this basically equates to outstanding English sparkling wine.
Definitely, yeah. And I think that will only continue as well. It's, you know, picking up more and more sort of motion, isn't it? So
definitely,
it's only going to get better now. Which
it certainly feels
incredible.
That way.
Yeah.
There's a vineyard in Cornwall that has its own royal warrant.
Yes, Camel Valley.
And it's often served at royal events.
Yeah, so is Ridgeview.
Yeah.
Ridgeview was served at one of the royal weddings. I forget now whether it's Harry or William. And served in Parliament. It's like a fan favourite, isn't it? And also the Queen Consort now. She is part of Wine GB.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
As one, you know, they have certain
there we go.
Charities or like organisations that they're part of.
She's well involved.
Yeah, she loves English wine so much that she's involved in it from that level. Yeah.
That's good. Well, also on Ridgeview, the little preview of Tim Atkin's report said that Ridgeview's Blanc de Blanc, this is so specific, Blanc de Blanc Magnum 2009.
Oh my gosh, which they probably don't even sell anymore.
Well, I don't know. Remains the finest English sparkling wine he's ever tasted.
So we need to get some.
I love. Yes, basically. Yeah, we don't have that vintage or a Magnum,
the Magnum,
but we do have some Ridgeview Blanc de Blanc. So if you want to taste what could potentially be one of the finest.
Gosh.
I know, it's good, isn't it?
What an accolade.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So what is the difference between Champagne and English sparkling wine then? We've got the same grapes, the same soil. I haven't mentioned that. The chalk from Champagne also runs through the Downs in the south of England.
Yeah. It just like spreads up, doesn't it? If you ever look at a like geology map.
Yes, so from when England used to be joined to Europe physically.
That's so true.
Yes.
Never made that connection before.
I love that.
We did used to be connected.
and then it broke off, and there's some chalk soil here in Champagne and some chalk soil 80 miles or so up here in England.
Yeah.
So same soil. I mean, not all English sparkling wine is grown on chalk soils, but a lot of it is, and especially some of the most prestigious is. We've got the same traditional production method.
Yeah.
We've even got the same price we discussed.
Yes. We are so similar now.
So what?
What is the difference then?
The differences are in scale.
Yes, of course.
Craftsmanship.
Yeah.
And taste.
Okay.
Bear with. The scale, okay, this is a lot to get your head around now as well, the scale, because we're talking like a lot of big numbers. And remember when we were talking about big numbers the other day and I was trying to make percentages and the percentages were so small that it just didn't make any sense.
No.
I'm trying my best in this. I've got in circles with it, but I'm trying my best to get us to understand the differences in scales by using a few different examples. But Champagne.
Yep.
You've got 16,000 growers in Champagne. So this is a small region, wine-growing region of France. 16,000 growers. That means 16,000 farmers. They have quite small parcels of land, basically. And there are 320 champagne houses. So the houses buy from like lots of different growers.
Which I don't think a lot of people would know.
No, I don't think they would. You would think, Moët has a Moët vineyard.
Yes.
Veuve has a Veuve vineyard.
Yes.
No, not at all. There are growers and there are houses. They are separate.
Yeah.
They are not one and the same.
And that's fascinating because that is replicated in England, because there are some people that just like to be pure farmers and grow brilliant grapes. There are some people who love the brand. So like, as you say, they're the houses. So they are doing all of that sort of marketing. They're doing the tastings. They're doing all of the branding of the bottle, as well as making a delicious product.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think a lot of people would know that. But there has been a little bit of a flurry, I see on socials, of people talking about champagne growers and makers, or whatever the term is.
It's called grower champagne.
Yeah. And I always look at it and I'm like, okay, so really, what does that mean though? So they've grown it, they've made it, and they're selling it. But that's
not the norm in champagne.
Yeah, and a lot of people would think that was. Yes. So
it's
so
unusual.
Interesting.
And really, the debate that's happening now, the argument that I'm putting forward for English sparkling wine, could also be applied to grower champagne.
Yeah, because really it's the same thing.
It is.
So Mr. and Mrs. lovely family have a small parcel, say maybe 5 acres of land. They think it would be really good fun to grow some vines. Yeah. They just really like wine. They want to experiment. They make an exceptional wine. They sell it to people, as well as loving it themselves.
Yeah. And the difference is, which I'm going to really beat into you, the grower champagne and the English sparkling wine, they are building something unique out of that year's vintage.
Yeah, they don't really do non-vintage, do they?
Love and out of craft.
Yeah,
and it's an art, and they're interested in it.
Yeah.
Whereas Billy Basic, big brand champagne, it's a whole different ballgame. It's just, like you said, consistency.
Yeah, so you could buy a non-vintage 10 years ago, buy a non-vintage, for example, Veuve 10 years ago or now. Obviously that's not going to be from the same grapes, but it will taste exceptionally similar.
Yes, I mean, I think bottle age will probably have affected the 10-year-old one.
Yes.
But year on year, so the bottle you buy last year, the bottle you buy this year.
Yeah, so you could do like a vertical tasting, couldn't you, of the wine? It might be non-vintage, but it's released in there will year. They'll have certain releases, won't they?
They would
all taste very similar.
Yeah, when it had first been released.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And I'm going to blow your mind in a minute.
I might need a top up.
So we've got 16,000 growers, so 16,000 parcels of land, 320 champagne houses, and there are 34,000 hectares of vines over, I mean, I'm really hoping these figures are correct, by the way, over the whole of the Champagne region. So that is on average, this is obviously not the case, that it's evenly distributed between them, but on average, 2 hectares per grower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is 2 hectares in small acreage?
Well, if half a hectare was about an acre, you're the accountant.
Oh my God, I wasn't listening. Sorry. I was just thinking, because that's not a lot.
4 acres, right?
It's not a lot, is it?
We're talking about 4 acres.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, like, we talk about English, that's where my mind was going. Apologies why I wasn't listening.
Human calculator, come on.
We talk about English sparkling wines having like small areas of land, and they only can produce a certain amount and whatever. But actually, if we're saying
more than 4 acres,
yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's an average, like I say. Some people will have more, some people will have less. But yeah, very interesting. Okay, so all of that 34,000 hectares of vines, 16,000 growers, 320 champagne houses produce how many bottles of champagne per year? Do you want to take a guess?
Okay, 100 million bottles.
More.
Oh my God. 200
million.
Oh. 500 million.
321 million.
That's crazy.
That was the figure for like 2021 or something. So yeah, quite recent. It's an enormous amount.
Just from one teeny little area of France.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of wine.
Okay, so the comparison with England.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me talk myself up.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Loving the stats.
So, in England, there are 897 vineyards.
Which actually is a lot more than even just when we started Elizabeth Rose Wines.
Yeah, tons more.
It's like,
and it's still going.
Massive growth, yeah. Okay.
So less than 1,000 versus 16,000 parcels.
Yeah.
In Champagne.
Okay.
But there are 197 wineries across the UK. So the difference between number of wineries and number of champagne houses is not so enormous.
No.
And that reflects the fact that many of the wineries have their own vineyard.
Yeah.
Okay. So the total hectarage under vine across the UK is 3,758.
Okay.
Compared to 34,000 across all of Champagne. So, way, way, way different in scale.
And we're a country. They're a region.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Quite a small wine growing region.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in terms of volumes produced in England or in the UK, it really depends upon the vintage, because we are very much, like you say, working vintage to vintage. We've not got tons of reserve wines.
Yeah.
That mean we can produce millions of bottles every year, regardless of that particular vine growing season.
Yeah.
So the lowest in the last 5 years was 2017, which was 5.31 million bottles in total.
Yeah, the whole country.
Yeah, and that includes still.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Gosh.
As opposed to 321 million bottles of champagne.
Yeah.
The best, obviously, 2018
was
a bumper year, 13.1 million bottles.
Okay, so that was a jump, but still nothing.
Nothing compared to 321 million bottles. And there's a 70-30 split between sparkling and still production in the UK. So I sort of made out that it was on average about 5 million bottles per year of sparkling in the UK versus 321 million.
That's insane.
321 million.
Do you know, that makes me feel like every bottle of sparkling that we stock is so
special.
It's like, oh my God, be careful.
I know.
There's not many more.
This is the conclusion.
Wow.
Okay, so we're still getting our head around the scale here. Let's just zoom in on one particular big brand champagne.
Okay.
I'm talking Moët and Chandon. Imperial Brew, non-vintage.
Everyone knows them.
Arguably the most recognisable champagne in the world.
And a lot of people argue over how to say their name, don't they?
Oh, Moët.
Yeah, apparently the French way is Moët.
Moët.
But lots of people, say Moët, because I think it's French, you shouldn't pronounce the T.
Moët. But anyway. Because of the umlaut, is it?
Yeah, so it means you do pronounce the T. I mean, I'm not French, but I would say Moët.
How much is a bottle of Moët these days?
Like £30.
39.
39?
No!
What? For a non-vintage, random off the shelf.
I told you we were going to blow your mind.
Pop to the supermarket, just get a bottle of...
£39. I think it's on offer at the moment in Tesco, maybe 34, maybe £5 off.
Whoa! Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Should have double checked, but I'm pretty sure this Saffron Grange is 36, 35.
That's insane. So I was looking at prices because we're off to do a wine tasting in March. And so I was looking at prices because we're doing sparkling wine. So I was looking and I was like, okay, so I want something around this price. Okay, so there's something here at £25. So this is £27. Okay, so this is like £30. Like,
these are cheap.
You can get
all of a sudden
exceptional English sparkling wine from like really small family-run growers, delicious. From you could easily get something exceptional for £39. £39. Oh my God. What a rip-off. It doesn't even taste that good.
Moët and Chandon are the largest champagne
disgusting
brand.
Largest.
I'm going to keep going.
Everyone drinks it. Everyone's got that. Why would you want that?
You could
I'm enraged.
Go to potentially any wine shop in the world.
Oh, they'll have it.
And they'll have a bottle of this.
Common.
common
for
as muck.
£39.
I know.
That's disgusting.
So they're part of the Louis Vuitton Moët Hennessy group, which is obviously an enormous luxury brand. Very,
oh,
very...
they are having you. Yeah, they're playing you for a fool at £39. Nah.
Do you want to know how big a
Not really.
Taking things too far. How big a slice of the champagne pie do LVMH have?
Half.
No, not that much.
Oh, okay.
Thankfully.
Oh, thanks. Right.
No, they have...
Didn't they just report like record profits? Like,
it's because they're selling us
for £39. It's a rip-off. Oh my god, boycott. Right. Interesting.
Come on.
Sorry, I'm focusing. I'm getting too emotional.
LVMH presses wines from 5,000 hectares of vineyards.
Scammers.
So whatever that is, 5,000 out of 35,000 hectares. 1 in 7.
7? Yeah.
We need calculators.
We've been drinking.
So hang on a minute. They press wine from 5,000 hectares of vineyards, and if you compare that to the total hectarage under vine in the UK, which is less than 4,000, so they are pressing more wine than the whole of the UK. Just Moët are pressing more wine than the whole of the UK. So I'm doing all these little comparisons to help you.
That's insane.
Makes sense.
And as you say, that's how they get into everywhere in the world.
Everywhere in the world. Literally everywhere. Travel to the other side of the world. They'll have it.
Yeah.
Won't be far away.
No, but that's like, don't you think that's like...
It's like a can of Coke.
Yeah, or like going to Thailand.
Yeah.
And instead of eating street food, you eat McDonald's. Don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Common
as muck. Moët sources grapes from so many different vineyards from over 200 crus or villages in Champagne that it would make no sense to list them.
No,
because there's just so many.
Yeah.
Timber.
Oh yeah,
the largest English sparkling wine producer, sources grapes from 11 vineyards.
Wow.
Okay, so that's quite a difference. 211.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay, so we're moving on from the scale. That's the scale.
Yeah, I'll calm down now. Yeah.
I mean, I might briefly return to it in a minute, but the craftsmanship we're moving on to now. The winemaking process of your Moët Chandon Imperial Brew non-vintage is entirely automated.
Oh, no.
It's all done by computer. No human hand touches the product from the delivery of the grapes to the consumption in your glass.
Oh,
not a human hand goes near it. No.
So there's
all done by computer.
When we say like the craftsmanship, there's
none.
Mun in that.
There's no mun.
There's no mun.
Just craftship.
Yeah, it's craftship. There's no man involved. No human.
It's a 100% computer monitored and controlled.
Which means they'll be making even more money because they're not even paying people to like sit and
they have invested in the most technologically advanced winemaking kit in Champagne.
Wow.
But it's not an art there.
Yeah, and I'm not against doing that sort of thing. I'm not against automation or like creating volume out of something, but what I am against is when you think you're like buying into something,
you
thinking it's like an artisan,
you think romantically about it,
like
champagne.
Beautiful product, and there's these lovely French people making this for me, and it's not that. It
actually surprised me that there's not I'm sure there is someone who's on quality control, but
in a white lab coat.
Yes,
yeah,
but it's nowhere near the same production process as your average English sparkling wine, and that's because consistency is the aim of the game.
Yeah, and volumes and
exactly. And the same will go for most big brand champagne houses. So
that'll be the norm.
Bollinger, even your Paul Roger, sadly, which I really like. But moving on. It's not an art.
Oh,
it's not a craft.
No,
it's just big brand, big business,
big bucks.
And Moët produce 20 million bottles
a year. Every year. Wow, that's crazy.
Huge amount. enormous. Okay, so another back to scale quickly.
Yeah.
Dom Perignon.
Okay. So I would see this as a more luxury brand.
Yes. Also part of the LVMH group.
Okay.
You'll see it says Moët Chandon Dom Perignon.
Yeah.
On the label. Dom Perignon can only be produced from the harvest of a single year, so it has to be vintage.
Yeah.
Much like most English sparkling wines.
Yeah.
It makes it a unique creation, something special, a reflection of the terroir of that year.
Yeah. Again, like English sparkling wine.
It's a big deal. There are only
oh god,
5 million bottles produced each vintage.
Wow.
That they go ahead with.
Which again is not something, maybe I'm just reading too much into it and making it too much of a fairy tale, but when I'm buying that product, that's not what I'm expecting.
No.
I'm expecting it to be extremely special. And the price, I think, reflects that.
The price.
And the price, yes.
The price at around £200 per bottle.
Yeah.
Reflects the scarcity and rarity
of those 5 million bottles. Oh my god, wait, but how many bottles did Taittinger make?
How many bottles did Taittinger make? Oh, I don't have it.
Oh, sorry, I thought you did. And I'm just thinking, like, if they're saying that's scarce and rare, and so that's why you should pay us £200
I can tell you that
bottle.
The UK made around 5 million. So
that's insane.
Made incredibly less than that.
And so what we're saying is that all of these bottles that are £30-ish, they would be compared in volume to price ratio to
Dom Perignon.
£200.
I know.
Oh, it's insane.
I know.
Oh, it's really insane.
Yep. We're comparing
all
our English sparkling wine to Dom Perignon.
Start a revolution.
For a fraction of the price. Yeah. So consider your English sparkling wine.
Yes.
Always produced, well, no, sorry, not always produced. More often than not produced from a vintage.
Yes.
And okay, the reason for that at the moment is because they haven't got enough reserve wines. I'm certain that most English sparkling wine producers are building their reserves so that they can release a non-vintage wine at some point.
Yes, certainly the majority of them are, yeah.
But right now, it's pretty much 90% vintage.
Yeah.
Okay, so each vintage is a unique creation, a work of art.
Yes.
It is produced.
There is craft and Mumm in the ship.
Produced in the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the millions.
No.
And nowhere near a £200 price tag.
That's insane. I've never considered those stats before. Like, I knew, obviously, there were less bottles produced. I knew there were, like, little family-run businesses. I knew all of that, but I didn't, like, ever have those
the direct
stats.
Comparison that it really puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
That's insane. And it actually makes me feel sad. If you travel
halfway across the world, you actually will probably be able to find a Dom Perignon not far away.
Yeah,
you're not going to find an English sparkling wine.
No. Oh, that's sad.
It is special.
I feel like it's sad for all of these English wine and Welsh wine producers that put in so much hard work.
Probably a lot.
Into their artisan product.
Dom Perignon.
Yeah, and then you get someone that thinks, oh yeah, bottle of Dom's really special.
Yeah.
Because of the price tag.
£200. Wait, you want me to pay £35 for your English sparkling wine?
Yeah, like, yeah, because actually, let's look at the direct comparison.
I know, it's mad,
isn't it? Gosh, okay.
English sparkling wine grapes
yeah,
are usually from only a handful of vineyards maximum, if not just one vineyard.
Yeah.
They are captured by parcel and they are then individually blended together by people.
Everyone's by hand. Yeah. And like usually by the local community.
Oh, to harvest.
Yeah.
The community will help with the harvest.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to blending, so the parcels will be fermented separately and then you bring them all together to blend. And this is a process that takes a matter of weeks. And it will be done by a person or by people who will take, all these different wines and blend them together. Yeah, exactly. We are not well versed in the process, but
no.
It's an art.
Oh, yeah.
There's no automation, no recipe.
No.
It's a craft. It's a skilled art, which takes time and expertise.
And a lot of love and dedication.
Yeah. And we see the love and dedication whenever we visit.
They live and die by that
100%.
harvest.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. So what is the result in terms of the taste and the final product?
Yep.
So with your English sparkling wine, you're going to get the aromas, the acidity, the texture, the style, the complexity, the elegance, and the character. All will have been considered and crafted by the winemaker, by your master blender. They will have considered all of those different factors. I mean, the skill involved is mind-blowing, really.
Yeah.
Not done by a computer, done by a person.
No.
It's an artisan product.
Yeah.
So with your Moët Chandon, you're likely to get citrus, apple, honey, brioche. It's going to be light. It's going to be delicate. It's going to be sparkling. It's going to be nice.
It will be, just very pleasant, I'm sure, yeah.
Pretty unremarkable, though.
Yeah.
With your vintage English sparkling wine,
the
aromas will have depended upon the sun, the rain that year, how that vintage played out, how hot did it get that year, how many hours of sunlight did they get, how many hours of rain, how many inches of rain. It'll be more interesting, it'll be more intense, it will have a longer length, it'll have more complexity about it.
And I think they're really good for laying down and like having in a few years'
100%,
time.
100%.
Yeah.
It's absolutely right. Moët, consistent but dull. English sparkling wine, unique.
Imagine if a person was like described as consistent but dull.
English sparkling wine, unique and exciting.
Yes, definitely. And no English sparkling wine is the same. Like vintage to vintage, yes.
Exactly.
But brand to brand.
Exactly.
Because the people, so we could be here,
everyone
for
has different
example,
tastes.
and we could make something that's different to our closest vineyard, which is like 3 miles down the road from here.
Yep.
And so that would be completely different, even though we'd be like so similar in terms of the sun, the rain, blah, blah, blah. But it's that individual
It'll be
family's
the altitude
preference.
and the soil and so many different factors. And you will taste it vintage to vintage.
Bottle.
And we, like you said the other day about the Chapel Down, like, I really liked this vintage, but I'm not so keen on that vintage. The more you get into English sparkling wine, the more you'll notice these sorts of things. And you'll be having those sorts of discussions. And it is interesting.
Oh, it is, because as well as a talking piece, so you go to dinner and you say, I've bought you this, what do you think? Now, I recently did this, and it was the Hindley Blanc de Blanc, 2016 vintage, I think.
Absolute bargain, by the way.
Oh, so good. It's aged so well, and I hadn't tasted it for a good few years.
Oh, I want some now.
And so I was like, here you are. What do you think? And they were all like, this is incredible. And that was a direct comparison, because we were just drinking champagne, and we then opened the bottle of Hindley Blanc de Blanc. And it was absolutely, obviously different.
Yes.
And beautiful.
This is it.
I know.
So is it worth spending your £30 to £60 on English sparkling wine over champagne?
Absolutely. Like, I know we're biased. And I am taking that into consideration with my conclusion.
Well, this is why I tried to be so objective about it.
Yeah, and like get the stats in there. But
it's not about preference.
Absolutely. Like, honestly, we've got a bottle in there in stock right now that you literally picked up a week, or maybe not even a week ago, from the Vineyard, and it's 25-ish pounds. And I know for a fact that will be more interesting, more rewarding, more artisan and craftsmanship than I don't even know if you could really get a good or a bottle of champagne for £25. Maybe in an offer, but this isn't even an offer. It's not big brand Tesco, that's been blended with 1,000 other things. This is one vineyard, one owner, one bottle of wine for £25. And the one I'm talking about is the Bardfield, if you would like to go and purchase it.
Yes. Oh, I really want to taste that.
Yes.
And it's 2018.
Oh,
brilliant,
such a good year. Yeah. And then literally you can go up and you can spend, maybe £10 more. And that is again, you would get a lot for that difference.
Yes.
So £10 more would get you this Saffron Grange Classic Cuvée, the 3 champagne grapes.
Yes.
What have they got? About 10-ish acres.
Yep.
And a vine. They haven't been going that long, but it's beautiful. Again, on chalk, so champagne. And yeah, I just don't. I don't know. Obviously I'm biased, but I would not be spending £39 of my hard-earned money on
champagne ever again.
As much wine. Yeah, that offends me slightly, to be honest.
I would say if you're used to inexpensive sparkling wines, such as Prosecco, for example, maybe it's not for you. But if you're interested in sparkling wine, if you're interested in champagne, taste a few, then graduate yourself to English sparkling wine, and you will not go back.
And like do the fun test of tasting the champagne and tasting the English.
A fun test. Get your lab coat on.
Yes. Because I do think you will see the difference between like a bulk mass produced wine, Veuve, for example, as we were talking about earlier, and then a smaller produced English sparkling wine. Mm-hmm. So what are you thinking?
So on paper,
we're
talking about a rare, scarce, vintage wine that's a true expression of its terroir, unique, intense, longer length on the palate, more complex, better depth of aroma.
Yeah, helping small family businesses.
Moët or Chandon will be the same every year. Yeah. You'll be able to pick it up anywhere in the world. Not special. Great English sparkling wines sell out as well.
Oh,
so
if
you
they do all the time
that you like or have liked in the past, go right this minute, go and buy a case because it will be gone before you know it.
And that's what I did with that Chapel Down that I was discussing the other episode. So it all sold out. So I had a bottle. Maybe I bought 2 bottles. Anyway, I had a bottle, maybe 2. And I was like, this is incredible. I need more. Then I went to go look, and everyone was on the next vintage. And I was like, oh my God, the panic.
It's gone.
And so I then found
how important vintages are.
Retailer that had some. But then even then I had to email them because the vintage online said 2018. But I was like, are you sure? Please can you confirm from the actual bottle that is the vintage? Because I know sometimes, vintages may vary, etc. So, and I bought 12 at that point in time. It's now all gone. And I think I have 2 bottles left.
No regrets.
No, and the 2020 is out now, so skip the 2019. I'm hoping the 2020 is more up my street.
Well, according to Tim Atkin, 18, 20, 22, all very good years.
Exactly. So yeah,
watch this space.
Yeah, so definitely I agree with you. If there's something that you like with English sparkling wine, buy it.
Get on it now.
Buy quite a bit of it if you can.
Oh yeah, because like you say, it ages.
Lay it down
fantastically.
Yeah.
Sparkling wine, like I mentioned before, I think it was Dom Perignon that they don't even release it until it's 8 years old, and then the even fancier stuff they don't release it until it's 16 years old. Yeah. So do not be afraid if the label says that something in the 2010s.
No, absolutely not. I'd still be more than happy to drink 100%. That. Yeah, yes. Delicious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All the best wine age as well. So in conclusion, it's a no-brainer.
Like women.
And the question here is not, is it worth spending more money on English sparkling wine?
No, because quite clearly that's not
is it worth spending
the same anymore.
The same amount of money, but on English sparkling wine instead of champagne? The answer is yes. And English sparkling wine isn't something to just like chuck back without thinking. It is something to get into, to appreciate the nuances.
Absolutely.
To try a few different producers, to try a few different vintages.
Yeah, and I think that's
and figure out what you like.
That's one of the reasons we set up our website, was because we really wanted somewhere that people could come and go, oh, I'll try a bottle of that. Oh, that looks interesting. I'll add that to my basket, and do all of that different tasting and just be curious about it. So that's like what we enjoy doing, being curious about things.
100%.
Like we will taste anything. We'll taste anything.
We'll taste anything.
And
whatever.
Yeah. So I think like being curious is where you find actually your favourite wines, because before English wine came along, English sparkling, English still wine, so many people have stuck to what they know.
Yes.
Like, oh, I really like Pinot Grigio, so
true.
I only drink Pinot Grigio. But actually, English wine is forcing people to come out of their comfort zone, and then they find something they actually prefer.
Yeah, something they love even more.
Yeah, it's really good. Love that about it. That was fascinating.
So that's it, really.
I think my heart rate's gone back down again after that £39
though,
shocker.
isn't it? The whole thing's a bit mad when you put it into
disgusting, actually. Like, we could be helping these small family-run businesses.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Especially in the current climate. More important than ever.
Yes, exactly. So there we go. Whatever sparkling wine you love to drink.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.